Hello, everyone. Here today for episode 11 of Backpacks and Stories, and I'm here today with Pato.
Hello, how are you, everyone?
It's a pleasure. Thank you for this recording today.
All right, pleasure is mine.
Would you like to start off by introducing yourself?
Yeah. Well, I am Patricio Llordelia. I am an architect. I'm 34 years old. I came to Australia when I was 29 years old with a working holiday visa. And during this time, I met Ben, one of my best friends in Australia. And then I ended up getting the citizenship in Australia last year.
This year, no?
Well, yeah, this year. Last year was the application, and this year, yeah, was the citizenship.
That's
True.
a very, very big achievement. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's not very easy, and I know there is a lot of people looking for that. A lot of people that comes to Australia with the idea of staying here. Some others they say that they don't like Australia because each one has a different opinion about the country. But yeah, I really love this country, and I decided to stay since I arrived here.
Even before you arrived, I think you had it in mind.
Well, yeah, I had in mind to leave Argentina already. I think I didn't say that I am from Argentina. Um, so my issue with the country was at that time I was working as an architect in a construction company. It was one of the biggest companies in La Plata, the city where I was born. I was working as a professor at the university. Um, and I was really happy with the job that I had. The issue is the economy of the country. It wasn't very safe to walk on the street. So a few things that makes me like, I think the country pushed me out and makes me think that I have to live in a different country other than Argentina. So I thought that I was born in that country, but I didn't have to stay in the country that I was born. So I decided to travel and try to find my place to live. Um, the first idea was Australia, just because a friend came to here and she told me, "Oh, Australia is going to be the nice place to you because you are really like." She knew that they have the Australian style of living. And then, yeah, when I came here, of course, in the first month, it was really hard because of the English. But after that, I feel really comfortable with the country. And I think it's a lot of people opens the door to me to come in and feel like home. So that was very important. I thought that was going to be harder in that sense, but a lot of people open the door and say, but this is your country too. You can come with us or we can help you. So a lot of people helped me to get my citizenship in Australia.
Mm-hmm. Just going back to something that you said there, when you said that you already had the Australian way of living, what do you mean by that?
Well, in Argentina, people try to find always the way to avoid things. So if you have a rule, like the country has a rule that, I don't know, you cannot to avoid taxes, let's say, for to say something simple. So people is going to try to find the way to avoid the taxes, even if they don't need to, they will try to find because it's the Argentinian way.
Mm-hmm.
So in Australia, they know they can do something to avoid the taxes, and this is maybe not the right example, but they are not going to make everything they can to avoid the taxes. They are going to say, okay, yeah, I could do that, but the right way to do is this way.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, and it's because the way we grow up. So we grow up knowing that if you don't find a way to try to get more money, and it's a different style of living. Is the education is different. So you can see that on the street. If you have to drive in Argentina, you are going to see a lot of things that in Australia will be impossible to see because you will get a fine here. In Argentina, you won't. So, and I like to go by the rule. So if the rules say you cannot to cross in red light, I don't cross in red light. So, but in Argentina, everyone's crossing red light. So it's like that kind of things that I like to be on the right side of the things. That's what my friend told me. She said that country is really organized, people is clean, people follow the rules. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I know it's not everyone in Australia like that, but in general, you can see that society is more organized and they are more like educated and all that. So that's why I say that, because I feel more comfortable living here than in Argentina.
Yeah, when you put it like that, I understand. I would have thought that because you're in Cairns right now, even Cairns is a much more relaxed part of Australia where people, I would think that people don't follow the rules as much.
Well, I think it depends of in which perspective you look the things. So your point of view of the things.
Mm-hmm.
So you grew up in a country that is different to Argentina. And then I think it could be that also. To give you an example, my previous boss,
Mm-hmm.
we were doing, and this is going to be recorded, but no one is going to know. I'm not going to name the person. So my previous boss, we were doing a building in one of the most important buildings of Argentina, and they have security on the door. So you couldn't go in if you don't have an approval from the person who is the director of that building.
Yeah.
So as my boss knew that, he made one guy to put all the tiles in the building, and he didn't pay the guy because the guy couldn't go in to remove the work. So, and he said, he cannot go in. That's it. I'm not paying. So, and that's the way a lot of people work in Argentina. If you do that in Australia, I think you go to prison. So there is no way you are going to find someone with a big company doing that here.
That's really crazy. And you said that that was one of the biggest construction firms in Argentina.
Yes, and that was normal in the company where I was working.
Yeah.
So I have hundreds of stories about that. So and that's why I didn't feel like I was part of that place.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, and I have been working in the university, which is part of the government, and I know that they work the same. They have a lot of issues. So is everything in Argentina is like that. I hope one day it's going to change. And maybe for people that visit the country, they don't realize about that kind of things. But when you live in there and you work in there, you realize the corruption and all the system, how the system is working.
Mm-hmm.
And then you don't feel, if you like to do the things on the right side, you don't feel comfortable with that kind of things.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard other stories, different things, more from the other perspective, from the perspective of a worker having worked, I don't know, maybe a couple of hours that hasn't of overtime that hasn't been paid, for example, just working in a normal shop, you know?
Where in Argentina or Australia?
Yeah, in Cordoba.
In Cordoba. Yeah, yeah. Well, the other thing is that sometimes your boss pay you in like part of payments, like quotes. So sometimes I say, "Oh, I should pay you today your full payment check, but I'm going to pay you 50% today and a 50% in 10 days."
Yeah.
And that's because of the inflation we have. He's going to make money with your money in 10 days. So
Mhm.
he preferred to pay you 10 days after because he can make money with that. So that's the other thing. It's like you are not sure that you're going to get your salary when you need to. So normally you don't have contracts. You don't have what is here the superannuation. It's really hard to have a job where they pay you the super. So once you retire, you go with the minimum salary. So the government in Argentina pay you a salary per month, and then you go to the minimum if your boss didn't pay enough during
Yeah.
your working time. So yeah, there are a lot of things that don't work very well. But yeah, hopefully one day it's going to work. It's going to, someone is going to fix the country. I don't know.
Okay, so aside from what the current government are doing in Argentina, do you think that they are dealing with these problems, or it's not something that's particularly on their agenda?
Well, it's hard to don't be in Argentina. You always have a side. You choose one government or the other one. So I I have been for 20 years living with the same government in Argentina, and that's why I left the country
Hmm.
because the economy and everything was a disaster. So I hope this government is going to change things. This government is doing everything all the opposite and trying to get the country on the like trying to fix the macro economy first,
Yeah.
and then after going into details, then I don't know. It's hard. Argentina is a country that is different to any other country.
Yeah.
Is really hard. It was the richest country in the world in the 1900s,
Hmm.
and in only 100 years, it went to from the top one to top 100. I don't know at the moment. Um, but yeah, is and that was just corruption and government decisions, and the people's vote because they vote always the same. So. But yeah, I hope this government is going to fix at least the economy. And then we need to see if the next government, because of course the government is not forever. So this government is going to be for 4 or 8 years maximum. And then it's going to come a new government. So hopefully the next government is going to try to fix another part. And then, I don't know. But yeah, it's hard to. We have been in this situation a lot of times, and it never works. So it's hard to have the hope of that something is going to improve.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an incredibly difficult situation, and I follow Argentinian politics to an extent because it is interesting, and having visited your
Mm.
country 4 times, and it's my favorite country in the world that I visited. It's so sad to see the country in the state that it is in, from all the corruption that's happened, the people are suffering, and
Yeah.
people are suffering and suffering and suffering, and they're gonna suffer with whoever's in power, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's a way out. No one knows if there's a way out. Hopefully, we all wish the best for Argentina, that one day it can be another strong country again.
Yeah. Well,
But
this time is the first time that we have an economist as a president. So hopefully he's going to fix the economy. And for sure, he's not going to solve everything. He's going to solve only the economy because he's an economist. And maybe he fixes a few other things. But if he can solve at least the economy, that's going to be a big change for Argentina already. So Argentina doesn't need to be in 10 years' time what is Germany or England. Argentina needs to be just a normal country, at least. And then people is going to make Argentina grow, because the people from Argentina, we know how to work hard to get things done. So the people is really good, but the issue is the government. They don't help people. So I think the country, if we will be just with the normal government, we have really good chances to go out of this part that we are going now.
I think the big problem, though, is the levels of poverty are record levels in Argentina right now, and the people really, really are suffering. Lots of people now don't have anything; they can't afford anything, and now they don't have any of the support that they had from the previous government.
Well, the poor people, they have the support, and that's why people is not on the streets at the moment. The issue is always the people who suffered the most in Argentina was the middle, the people that was in the middle. So not the poor people or not the richest people. So the people that was in the middle, they always lose against inflation, against government decisions, because the government helps to the poorest people, and the richest people is going to be always rich, no matter what. So the people that is in the middle is the one that is going to suffer everything. So to give you an example, before coming here to Australia, when I get graduated, I didn't have money to even pay a coffee. I remember I started to go out with my girlfriend, and I didn't have money to even pay a coffee. So, and I found a way to go out of that situation, because in Argentina you have free education, which is really good. And then once you finish your university, you have the way to find the job. The issue is the job is not going to be an excellent position where you get paid as you get paid in other countries. So I had to save money for 4 or 5 years with 2 jobs to be able to come to Australia, to pay the ticket, to have some savings in case that something went wrong. So it was a 5-year saving just to come to Australia.
And then as soon as you arrived, the first 3 months of work, you probably earned the same as you did in those 5 years.
Yeah. I remember after the farm, I get $6,000 in the bank account, and I said, "This is more money than what I did in the last 5 years in Argentina."
Yeah, it's really sad, and that's working as a professional in Argentina.
Yeah. So and that changed a lot now, of course, because I'm working as a professional in Australia. So there is no way to compare the salaries from Argentina to Australia. It's crazy the difference.
Yeah, 100%. On a completely different side note, I just remember you told me because in the farms we were working on, we were picking cherries,
Yeah,
and like, what did you tell me? 10 cherries from each lug.
10 cherries.
You remember each lug we picked? You used to
Yeah.
eat 10, didn't you?
Yeah, more than 10 for sure. Oh, yeah, do you remember that day? The supervisor, the guy was angry with me
Who,
because
Kai?
he said, huh?
Kai or a different one?
Yeah, no,
The English
James.
guy,
James.
James with the hat.
Yeah, James told me that I was eating too many cherries. Yeah, oh, well, they were delicious.
They were so good.
I think after that, I ate cherries only once more, and that's it. Never anymore. I have to go back to Tasmania.
Yes. The problem is with when you work on the farms and you pick those things and you can have them for free, you never want to go back to pay for them because you've already had the best of the best for
For
free.
free.
You
Yeah,
don't pay, I don't know, $20 a kilo, however much they cost.
they are really expensive. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Do you remember the yellow ones?
Yes.
Yeah, and they. I think they said that they were not selling that cherries anymore.
No, the
Yeah,
yellow ones were something about the pollination. They were a special kind of cherry. I don't know.
yeah, that was very good. And also the apples. The apples were also nice.
I never got to try them.
You didn't try it?
No, because I left as soon as the cherry season was over.
Ah, right. I didn't remember that part.
I left because it was my birthday and I wanted to go to Melbourne for my birthday. I,
Oh,
this story makes me really angry because for the whole of the cherry season, they
yeah.
told us you have to come every single day until the end
Mm-hmm.
of the season to get paid the bonus amount, which
Ah, yeah.
makes the normal pay in reality.
Yeah, that's true.
And I was asking, can I just leave a couple days before the end of the season because I don't want to be here. I want to go to Melbourne.
Yeah,
And they said, no, you have to be here until the end. And
yeah,
then on the last day, people who had missed days, several days, it didn't matter because they just had to sign their name on the sheet and
yeah,
then
yeah,
leave.
yeah, yeah.
I was
Oh,
so
yeah.
angry.
Well, I still remember they said we were going to get paid hourly rate,
Oh,
and that lasts 2 days.
2 days, a day and a half.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we turn up on
That
Sunday.
was very sad.
No. It, that's the problem that the farms in Australia, I think this is the biggest area of exploitation in Australia, the farms, because they know that the people need to do those jobs,
Yeah.
so they get away with it. And even when the people try and do something, well, they're just going to be replaced at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think it's also really hard because the guys works there and they grow the trees for like 4 years. So, and I remember we have some friends that they were just jumping into the trees and then breaking the branches. So that for sure is not funny for them. And the issue is for a few people like that, everyone ends up on the same bag. So um, it's a bit. I can understand both sides, but for sure they pay really low. The pay rate is really low for the salaries that you can get in Australia.
Yeah,
I remember at that time I was thinking, oh, $32 per hour that some people was earning in a solar farm or that kind of shops. To me was a lot. But
Yeah.
nowadays, when you work as a professional, you realize that's a really low salary for what you can get as a professional. So
Yeah.
um yeah, the point of view changed a lot. But
Hmm.
at that time, as we said before, in 3 months I did the same money that in the 5 years in Argentina. So to me it was a lot at that time.
Yeah, it's all about perspectives, and I
Yeah,
spoke a bit about this with Santi as well. That it was an experience at the end of the day, and
yeah,
even though it wasn't the best money in the world, the opportunity to the best part about it was that we got to speak to each other all day. We were just out there, beautiful weather, the beautiful Tasmanian weather,
yeah,
outside, just speaking and getting to know each other. And
yeah,
that was amazing.
yeah. That was really nice. Yeah, yeah. And also the way that you work with a couple, like you work with someone else
Hmm.
on the same tree, that helps you to improve your teamwork. And as you say, talk to someone else, meet that person. Yeah, I think was a really nice experience. I wouldn't change that. I will, if I have to come back to Australia, I will do exactly the same. So I will go to Tasmania. I will do that show. I will stay in the same place because even there were a few things I didn't like. It was a good place to stay, good people. So, and I remember the view of that place was amazing. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think it was a really good place to start. Our first working experience in Australia, because
yeah,
we arrived at a very similar time, the end of October, to
mm,
Melbourne,
yeah,
and then straight down to Tassie. We had the
yeah,
same the same history.
yeah. Well, I have a friend that she's arriving in a few weeks,
Hmm.
and I said to her, "Look, this is the email from the lady that is in the hostel. So send her an email, see if she's still accommodating people there, because to me it was a good experience overall.
Yeah,
So yeah, yeah, I would recommend that to do that. Yeah,
100%. So then after the farm, you went straight up to Cairns, and then you found your job quite quickly, no?
yeah, yeah. I remember at that time we bought the car with a group of people. We were 5 people who bought the car, and they were with the idea of traveling around Tasmania.
Hmm.
And they told me, come on, Pat, let's go, let's travel around Tasmania. And I was 24/7 looking for a job as an architect everywhere in Australia.
Hmm.
Even I sent an email to Spain, I remember.
Oh yeah.
So I was I was willing to take a job everywhere. So a few people called me, and when I said to them that I was in a working holiday visa, they say, "Oh no, we don't take people with working holiday because of the 6 months restrictions." Um, and this guy sent me an email, and I think that's why I get the interview because he didn't talk to me over the phone, so he didn't know my English level really because I was using the Grammarly and a few things to try to uh, answer the emails.
Yeah.
And then he told me I had a flight to Sydney for, let's say, from today to tomorrow. I have the flight to Sydney. And the guy sent me an email saying, can you come tomorrow to an interview? And I said, oh shit, I have to change the flight. So I said to him, and he said, where are you? And I say, I am in Tasmania, but I can fly to Cairns to the interview. And he said, oh, no, 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 don't come to Cairns because there is going to be a lockdown because of COVID, and you are going to be in Queensland for a long time. And I say, no worries. Tomorrow, 7 a.m., I am there. So I canceled the ticket to Sydney. I remember my friends were telling me, "Oh, let's go around Tasmania. Let's go around Tasmania. Don't take the shop. You will find another shop." And then I canceled the flight and I booked a flight to Cairns. I didn't even know where was Cairns. So when I saw the price, I say, "Oh, this must be far." So I remember when I arrived in Cairns, I opened Google Maps and I said, "Oh, this is a really small city." I didn't even know where I was going. Um, and then, yeah, the day after I had the interview,
Mhm.
and they told me, "Oh, we don't know if we are going to have enough shop for you because of COVID." So the government make the construction essential activity in Australia.
Yeah.
So because of that, I end up getting the shop because I remember at that moment in the hostel, um, people were saying that some shops were saying, "Oh, we only take Australian people because of COVID, and we don't want to take people from overseas to work." So it was really a really hard moment for some people. But to me, as Santi said in the last meeting with you, it was one of the best time of my life, the COVID time in Cairns, because we didn't even use mask in Cairns.
Yeah.
So it was crazy. It was like nothing happened. I was working, my first job as an architect in Australia, didn't use the mask. We could go out to do some exercise. So yeah, it was totally fine. And yeah, that's how I get the job that I am currently working on.
You made the right decision that day to just book that flight.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I could, if I would be a lazy person, I would say, "Oh yeah, I can take a few days off and then um, relax, and then after go for a job as an architect." But I knew something told me that that was the job that I have to take. And then I remember I was in Cairns 2 weeks without work, and they called me from one day to the other one, and they say, "You start tomorrow. I will see you in the office." So yeah, and that changed everything.
Yeah. Incredible. The
Yeah,
crazy how that just, everything lined up so perfectly. Everything lined up, and here you are now, less than 5 years later with your citizenship.
yeah, yeah. That's crazy. And even when I arrived in the company, they had before they had an architect from Argentina,
Oh yeah.
and she left the country. She was going to get the sponsor that they gave me, and she left the country because the boyfriend didn't want to live in Australia. He wants to go back to Argentina.
Yeah.
So thanks to her that left the country, I get the job and I get the sponsor in this company. So when everything line up in that way, you feel like you are in the right place in the right moment.
Yeah.
And you need to be prepared for that. Because before doing that, I have been studying for 1 year and a half English, and I was studying for Revit. Revit is a software that we use, or normally people use in architectural firms for drawings. So I remember I paid like $500, and $500 for someone in Argentina is a lot of money, for an international certification of Revit.
Mhm.
And then that gave me the job too. Because if I didn't have that, and I did that 2 years before getting the job, if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be able to get the job.
Yeah.
So everything lines up, but you need to be prepared for that time.
Yeah. And coming on to that, do you believe that everything happens for a reason? Do you think that everything was always meant to happen that way?
Well, I feel like everyone has the train, that is going to pass once in life.
Mm.
You need to take it. So it's your chance to take it or let it go. So when I came to Australia, as I say, I was with two shops. I had my partner in Argentina.
Mhm.
She was still studying in the university, and I was 29 years old. So I could wait for 1 year more when I was 30 to come to Australia. But there was something that told me that I had to come with when I was 29. And that was to think that something could happen and you need to do the things now before something happened and you can't do it anymore.
Mhm.
So I remember at that time I said to her, I have to go. This is my time to go to Australia. And she said, I will stay in Argentina. So she's staying there. And if I wouldn't take that decision, I wouldn't be here in Australia.
Yeah.
Because COVID happened, I would be more than 30 years old and I wouldn't be able to come to Australia.
Hmm. Yeah.
So I think you have the chance to do the things once or twice in your life, but it's your responsibility to take it.
Yeah.
Everyone has a chance to do what they want to do. You just need to take it.
Mm.
And then it's getting prepared even without knowing what's going to happen, making the effort. I was waking up every day, 6 a.m. in the morning, studying English before going to work, studying English after working, going to the Revit course to get the certification,
Hmm.
even without knowing that I was going to end up in Australia with this job.
Yeah.
So I think it's, and that was when I was a child, I did Taekwondo. I don't know if you remember. So I did that for 14 years.
Hmm.
So that that mindset that they have in Korea is really a good way to understand things. It's like you need to be in the right place, knowing what's correct and what is not, and being perseverant with that. If you have the goal to achieve, you need to keep going and
Yeah.
try. Even if you don't have the chance yet, you will get the chance to take it. So that's really important, I think.
Yeah. And for sure, it's not like you say, after everything you've explained, it's not like it just happened overnight. It's not like it was given to you. Like for sure, you've worked very hard for
Yeah,
where you are, for the opportunities that you've had to get there. It wasn't an easy process.
yeah. I hate when some people say, "Oh, but I didn't get this, or I didn't get the chance to do that." So it's like I feel like sometimes it's an excuse to feel more comfortable with them, like saying, "Yeah, I didn't make this, or I didn't achieve this because I didn't get the chance to do it." So, as I say, everyone in my when I was in the uni, everyone laughed about me when I tried to speak English.
Hmm.
So, and they say, "Oh, you are not going to, never going to be able to speak English." Um, and that's it. I end up in a country that they speak English, and I am working as a professional.
Yeah.
So, and I chose this country also because of that. I could go to Spain, but that would be to make my life easier and don't get in like a challenge in my life.
Yeah.
So I like to get the challenge because that's the way you improve yourself. You don't have to compare with someone else. You have to compare with yourself a few years ago. What were you doing and where you are now? So I always try to get that idea of comparing myself 5 years ago, what I was doing and what changed and how I am now. So yeah, that's the way I live, let's say.
Yeah, and it's easy to. I've been reflecting a lot on this. That it's very easy to get stuck in the past or stuck thinking about the future. But at the end of the day, what is most important is right now. You
Yeah,
know, we can't change the things that have already happened, and we can change the things that are going to happen to an extent, maybe. But that those things aren't going to change if we don't put in the work now. And it's very true.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. Yeah, always you need to understand that you are living now. So tomorrow you don't know what's going to happen.
Mhm.
And that's when I go on holidays that I feel I think it's my time to really relax and feel like, okay, I'm living now, and I'm not thinking in that I have to go back to work in 2 weeks or whatever. So when I am on holidays, I am a totally different person. It's like I like to spend money. I don't think about the money. I don't think in what I'm doing, what time is it. So it's totally different.
Mhm.
Of course, you have a routine that you have to follow during the year.
Yeah.
If you want to work as a professional or if you want to, I don't know, normally works is a routine that you have to follow. But yeah, you need some time to relax and then think about now.
Mhm. Do you have any pending holidays at the moment?
Well, I'm going to Japan in 3 weeks.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, yeah. I have today I was with my partner preparing the trip. So we were seeing which day we are going to be in each city and what we are going to do. So yeah, yeah, that's really nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Japan,
After I think the last holidays were like 1 year and a half ago when I went to Argentina.
when we saw each other in Argentina.
Yeah, yeah. That was the last one.
The last holidays you've had in a year and a half. Wow.
Yeah, and probably it's going to be one of the last ones in the next year. So yeah, we are at the moment we are building a hotel for Cairns.
Hmm.
So I am part of the design team for that project. And then yeah, I need to work on that for the next few years.
The next few years.
Yeah, yeah.
You're a workaholic.
Well, yeah, I like to work. I enjoy my work.
Hmm.
Is I think it's a pleasure to work in what you like. It's like you don't feel you are working.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really enjoy going to the office and then designing and thinking about materials, and yeah, it's really a really nice feeling.
And I guess as well, you're able to appreciate it so much more having gone from working two hard jobs and studying so much before in Argentina to now you have this slower pace of life that you're able to put in your, I imagine, your normal 40 hours a week and be able to leave the work behind
Yeah,
and be compensated for it as well.
yeah. In Argentina, my boss used to call me on Saturday, Sunday, 2 a.m. in the morning, 3 a.m. in the morning. So
Really?
anytime, anytime. So now I close the door in the office. That's it. I don't receive even a message.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's another thing that is totally different here.
Mm.
In Argentina, you have to work 24/7. But in here is you go from Monday to Friday. Friday 4 p.m. Most of the Australians gone, and then that's it. End of the week.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah. So yeah, that's another big change.
Yeah, for sure. So how long are you going to be spending in Japan?
I'm going for 2 weeks. So I'm going to go to Osaka, Hiroshima, Kyoto, Tokyo, and then Osaka again, and then I come back to Cairns.
Nice. It's going to be a very fast-paced trip.
Sure. Yeah. I need to have everything organized because there are a lot of things to do. But the idea is to go to at least the main cities, and then if I like Japan, I go back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't been in too many countries in my life, so that's why I think it's important to start traveling now that we have the money to travel and we have the time. Is part of what we want to do. We want to travel.
And you have to use your new passport.
Yeah, that's right. That's the other thing.
So no pending trips to visit Argentina anytime in the next few years.
No, I think I'm going to go in 2026 to Argentina. It's a shame because the trip to Argentina now is really expensive compared to what was before COVID. So yeah, it's a really a lot of money to spend. So we decided to go in 2026. Maybe we are going to go with a friend that she wants to go to Argentina. And then we are going to travel around Argentina a bit to the north and the south. So yeah, that's the idea.
Have you traveled much of Argentina?
Well, I went to Misiones, which is north, and then the southest part that I went to was Bariloche, but it's not really the south of Argentina.
No. So it's the start of the Patagonia.
Where did you go in Argentina?
All of the places.
Oh, really?
No. Okay, so I started off in Bariloche, and then I went down to El Chaltén and Calafate, and then Ushuaia, and then Buenos Aires, and Iguazu. That was the first trip. And La Plata. I visited La Plata to see you for a few.
I remember. Yeah, that was really nice to have you in La Plata.
It was a pleasure. It was really nice. I got to see the things that you'd worked on, and
Do you still got the belt?
The what? Sorry,
the belt that you bought. Do you remember that?
No. I remember that, but no, I don't have that belt. No. Then my second trip, I went to Mendoza, Córdoba, Buenos Aires, Salta, Jujuy. And then my third trip, just Buenos Aires. And then the last trip, Córdoba, Buenos Aires, and Miramar.
All right. That's good. Miramar. That's nice.
Yeah.
Did you go into the water?
With where, sorry?
Did you go into the water?
Yeah.
Miramar?
Yeah.
It's really cold.
It's really cold.
It's like Tasmania.
It's so cold.
Yeah.
But it was really nice there. I was with Santi and his family. So
right.
There was like an Argentinian summer experience,
Yeah.
Really, really nice. Really nice.
What time of the year was that?
That was in January.
Right.
Yeah.
Summer. Yeah.
Okay, but
perfect.
It was between maybe 20 and 25 degrees. I thought it would be warmer, but no, it was nice. It was nice.
Yeah. And which one is the city or the place in Argentina you like the most?
That's so difficult. Because Buenos Aires is Buenos Aires. It's like my favorite city in the world. But being in La Patagonia is so beautiful, the south, but so is the north as well.
Mm.
I think the north is a more cultural experience,
Mm.
um, learning more about Andean culture and history. Um, and but I don't know, the La Patagonia, it was where I started, and it's so beautiful down there. So, and then Iguazu as well. It's, everything.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
Argentina. This is why it's so. For me, I always say Argentina to everyone. I would tell them Argentina is my favorite country for the landscapes, for the people. You
Mm.
know, the people are so warm and welcoming wherever you are. The food, it's just the music, the culture, the list goes on and on and on.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think I really enjoy when I meet people from Colombia too.
Hmm.
Colombian people is really also really friendly, and they always like want to be your friend and talk. And then I met some Colombian people in when I went to Brazil the first time,
Yeah.
and I remember we were in a boat, and they were like part of our family. They were, "Hey, come guys, when you're going to get married?" And it's like, and we just met. It's like that doesn't happen in other part of the world.
Yeah, it's so. I love Latin America. I love all of the countries that I visited. I stay this year. I stayed in Colombia for 4 months, and being in a small town and meeting those people. Of course, I feel the same. The people there are amazing. All the whole country is beautiful as well. But I feel that everywhere. There's not one country in South America that I had an experience that I think was bad or negative, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I really like South America. It's a shame that the governments in there are not as good as in other countries.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's a really nice place. I think one day South America is going to get the place in the world that deserves.
I really hope so. And it's going there and traveling and learning about what happened, you know, and you realize that it was the United States. The United States went in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, put in a bunch of dictatorships in the majority of the continent, and
Yeah,
that did so much damage because it was growing and growing and growing, and the United States didn't want that. They didn't
yeah,
want a continent just below to be so powerful.
yeah.
And I think it is to blame for a lot of the problems that exist now. They put in the corruption that's there today, and
Mm.
and it's easy to point fingers, but yeah, it's just really really sad that so many people have to suffer for that.
Yeah, and it's crazy also how all the governments are connected in one way, because the same that is happening in Venezuela is happening or used to happen in Argentina and used to happen in all countries. So they are all connecting and doing exactly the same, that they know that doesn't work, but they don't care. It's like if people vote for us, that's what they want.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, yeah, it's a shame.
Do you ever see a possibility of there being some kind of union like the EU in South America?
Union like what?
Like with
Like
the
the Europe, the one in Europe.
yeah.
Well, we have the what is called the Mercosur.
Hmm.
Um, so you can, if you have the Argentinian passport, you can go to, let's say, Brazil, and then you can enter because it's part of the Mercosur. Um, and there are a few other things that the countries make together for the economy and all that. The issue is South America is very particular with politics, and then you have one president, and when the other president comes, is going to change everything that did the one before,
Yeah.
and it's going to start from zero. So maybe all the deals that you have between one country and the other one, that's it. They disappear because the people choose a different president.
Mm.
So it's really hard that part. It's like it's not like Europe where you have countries that they think in 20 years time. It's like our countries think in 4 years time.
Mm.
So once the president ends, that's it. It changed everything.
Yeah. Yeah. It happens. I think it happens more than you think in Europe as well. Then Europe is
Well,
very
yeah, maybe yes.
now. It's I mean, in the UK, I'm most familiar with than any other European political situation. But in the UK, it's very much about winning people's votes now, and they're not doing things for the long term. They're just,
Mm,
you
yeah,
know, who can show things to the people now. That's what they're doing.
yeah, and that's really risky for people because they think, oh, I will get fine in in the next 4 years, but they don't think about what's happened after.
Yeah.
It's like they don't care. So you get money now, but after 4 years, that's it. The country is destroyed. So yeah,
But it's the world that we live in. We live in a world of
yeah,
instant gratification. We want everything now. We want everything to be convenient. People, we've got used to not having to wait for things.
yes, yeah, yeah, that's true.
So, what are some things that you miss about Argentina?
Food, number one, and family.
Hmm.
And then after that, oh, it's hard. Of course, in family, friends, it's part of family to me. Um, Not much more, really.
Much more.
So I really enjoy, of course, as you say, the landscape, the people, but I feel here, at least where I'm working now, they make me feel like home. So they invite me home to have dinner, and they are the director of the company.
Hmm.
So it's not, even in Argentina wasn't like that. In Argentina, the director of the company is like, is the boss. He's like in a different, um, it's like in a higher position. So he's the god. In here is more like, okay, we work together.
Hmm.
So every time there is a lunch or dinner, we go together, and then we have celebrations. Is in that sense, I think it's more open here than what I had before.
Hmm.
But of course, people on the street is different. I think in Argentina they are more open. Like you met someone and they say, "Oh, let's go home. Let's drink some mate." That's much easier. Um, I still find it a bit hard to make some Australian friends. Um, I have a few, but they are, I just can count them with the hand. So yeah, I think that's the only thing I could say. Also, I miss from Argentina to meet friends easier.
Yeah.
So you go to play soccer in Argentina, and then you have 10 new friends.
Hmm.
It's like that. It's like you go and you drink after you drink something, and then that's it. You get new friends.
The,
I think it's easier.
this was something that I had been thinking about to ask you as well, like especially where you are in your point of immigration. Now is really integration, and obviously you've integrated to a certain extent. You have to become a citizen, but how how do you feel like your experience has been and is going with integration, like in terms of really connecting with the local people and stuff like that?
Well, I would say that with locals that they were born in Australia,
Hmm.
it's not easy. With locals that they have a citizenship like me and they came to Australia, that's much easier because they are also in the same position as you. So they try to make connections and they try to make connections with people that they are not backpackers.
Hmm.
So at the moment, I am trying to not avoid, of course, avoid people that is backpacking, but it's like I prefer to don't make new friends if they are coming in and out quick.
Yep. Yeah.
So I don't want to meet someone and then after 2 months that person leaves. That's it. End of the relationship. So I want to make long-term relationships with people. So yeah, I started to make a new group of friends that they stay in Cairns. And most of them say the same. They say, oh, it's really nice that you are going to stay in Cairns because it's hard to find someone that is going to stay here. But then the Australians has like a different group of people. It's like if they were born in Australia, they normally are with other Australians, and it's a bit harder the integration of. It happened to me at work. At work, I have a lot of people that they were born in Australia, and they are really nice, and they try to bring me home for lunch, dinner, and all that. But of course, it's not the same. It's not a friend that you met on the street.
Yeah.
Um,
There's less authenticity to it.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think it's going to be always hard to meet Australians, but I also think once you met a few Australians and they introduce you with with their friends and all that, it's going to be much easier.
Mm.
It's just find the right people and the people that you share things, because sometimes you don't share anything with someone and then that's it. Um, yeah, I think that's the main reason. And they have, of course, they have dinner earlier than what we have in Argentina. You know that. So normally we have dinner like 9, 10 p.m.
Mhm.
And they have dinner like 6 p.m. Sometimes 5:30. Um, so maybe we are drinking mate on the esplanade at 5 p.m. and they're having dinner.
Yeah, yeah.
So that situation makes a bit harder to meet with Australians and all that. But for sure, you are going to find a lot of Argentinians drinking mate on the esplanade at 5:30.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I I guess it all comes with time, you know. It all
Yeah,
comes with time, and when you change your habits, you change your routine, and you start doing the things that they like to do. You naturally cross paths more. The longer you spend time in a country, in a place, the more that you connect with the culture and the people.
yeah, yeah. And I think in a bigger city will be easier. Um, in Cairns, it's a bit harder because they have already their routine, and then it's more like a. Some people told me it's good to join a group, like running group or something like that,
Mm.
or the gym, because then it's easier to contact some Australians, and then you share something, then you start talking. Um, but yeah, I like to that kind of things. I like to do that by myself. I like to be independent. I don't like to be in a group for running or doing exercise or none of that. So yeah,
Yeah, I understand that completely. You can work at your own pace.
yeah. And also another thing that is really weird is people doesn't go to the beach. They don't go to the beach. So I went today to Bangkok, which is wonderful. It's really nice to go. If you will have that beach in Argentina, I'm sure that will be full every day of the year, even
Yeah.
in winter. In here, you go in summer. Today was really hot and no one was there. And they are in the shopping center spending money.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing. It's like, and I had a few friends, Australian friends, and I remember I used to say, "Oh, let's go to the beach," and sometimes they say, "Oh, no, I don't want to go to the beach." And then if you don't share that kind of things, the thing that you like to do on the weekends, is like that. That's sometimes the reason why you don't have Australian friends, for
Yeah.
example.
I think maybe they take it for granted a little bit. The fact that they know it's always there, they can go whenever they want, and then they just never go because
Yeah,
we always go another time.
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, but I still cannot to believe that you go to a beach and no one is there.
Some of the most beautiful beaches in the world.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. People come from overseas to go to this beach and they don't go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Is Palm Cove your favorite place in Cairns?
Uh that's a good question. Um I think I would say yes. Uh I like Cairns in general. It's like there is no one favorite place in Cairns.
Mm.
I like the weather in Cairns because I don't like the winter in general. So in here you have winter in Cairns is like 25 degrees.
Yeah.
It's, I think it's a perfect temperature.
Mm.
And then in summer is when you are between winter and summer, you have like probably 40 degrees.
Yeah.
But in summer, it drops the temperature because of the rain. So you go back to 25, 26 degrees. So it's not that bad. Um, and then you have the beach, you have the creek, you have lakes, mountain. It's like you have everything.
Hmm.
So if you like winter, yeah, of course you are not going to like Cairns. But if you like outdoor activities, meeting friends outside on the esplanade, that kind of things, the
Hmm.
social activities outdoor, Cairns is perfect.
Hmm.
We went with my partner to Sydney a few months ago, and it was really cold. And we said we want to go out of Sydney. We stayed 3 days, and we couldn't stay longer. So yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think
And I remember Tasmania. Tasmania
even
was the same.
I don't think even Sydney is that bad for the winter compared to Melbourne. Melbourne is really bad for winter.
Well, yeah, yeah,
But when you're used
yeah.
to the weather in Cairns, then I guess it's complicated.
Well, all the people that arrived in Cairns in the first few weeks, they say, "Oh, it's really hot here," and then normally locals say, "No, this is not hot. This is winter." So yeah, after a few years, it's like for you, 35 degrees is nothing in Cairns.
What about the rainy season? The rainy season doesn't bother you?
Well, we have only one wet season. When I think it was in 2020
Hmm.
when I arrived in Cairns. That was a really wet season. It was 3 months of rain, and we didn't see the sun in 3 months. But after that year, all the rest of the years was they were fine. They were like probably rains 2 or 3 weeks and then stop, and you have 1 or 2 weeks of sun and then start raining again. But that's not really a wet season. The issue when you don't have the wet season is that the weather goes to 47 degrees. Last year we have 47. Yeah.
Was it 47 this year?
In the last summer, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. That was crazy. That day, you better go under the air conditioning.
You don't want to leave your house.
No. So you go from your home to the car, air conditioning in the car, go to the office, stay in the office. That's it.
I think the worst I ever felt was maybe 44 in Perth.
Yeah.
47. No, it's really crazy to think that it gets that hot.
Yeah. Well, I have my sister living in Dubai,
Mm-hmm.
and that's even worse.
It's different.
Yeah, it's different. The heat is different because in there probably it's dry.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. At least in here, you go into the water. I remember one day we were with Sabri in Port Douglas,
Mm-hmm.
and that day probably was like 43, 44 degrees. And we were in Port Douglas on the beach, and we say, oh, let's go to the water. It's too hot outside. We went into the water, and it was even worse. So we have to go out of the water because it was like hot temperature water. Then we have to go to a creek. We couldn't stay in the water, even in
Yeah.
the beach.
It's crazy.
So yeah, there is some part of the years that you cannot even stay in the beach for more than 10 minutes. And that's why people lives in the shopping center.
Yeah, it's true, but for the comfort, it's for the comfort. Yeah. What you said about Dubai and it being dry heat. My nanny, before I went on my trip, I stopped in Dubai before I went to Australia, and she said, it's hot, but it's nice because it's dry heat. I got off the plane at 3 a.m, and it was 33 degrees outside. And during the day it was 40 degrees. And even though it's dry heat, you walk around, still after 10 minutes you're drenched in sweat because it's so hot. Even if it's dry heat, it's still so hot.
Yeah. Well, in here in Cairns, I feel like I have to drink water all the time. It's all the time drinking water. It's the only way that, even when you are with the air conditioning,
it's not enough.
And the issue is you get sick also.
Yeah.
Because you go from hot to cold, and then all the time going in and out of the office. So that's our issue. And of course, it's better to work in the office than working as a labor doing construction.
Yeah.
So imagine sometimes I go to the site to see foundations or the walls, and it's terrible. I don't know how they can work in that condition. They are used to that.
Yeah, they're just used to it. You have to. I've worked construction in North Queensland, and to start with it's a bit tough, but then you just get used to it because you have to do it. You just have to do it. The job has to be done.
Yeah. Well, it was a bit like in Tasmania. Do you remember when we have like early mornings, like 5 a.m. in the morning, really cold? That was, and you feel all your fingers that they are going to fall.
And then 2 hours later is 20 degrees, beautiful weather, and by midday it's 30 degrees.
It's perfect.
But it is very cold in the morning.
Yeah, in the morning it's really cold. Yeah, even in summer.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we're gonna come to the end now. And before
All right.
we come to the end, do you have any questions you want to throw at me?
Well, I ask you the one in Argentina. You travel much more than me.
Mm.
So, in your top 10 of countries, if you have a top 10, what's the position for Australia? What will you say is your Australian?
Wow, that's a really good question. Really good question. Because Australia is a country that I've had both experiences, both living and traveling, and
Mhm.
I think it's really stunning with, again, all of the landscapes. You have almost everything. I mean, you don't quite have glaciers there, but
Yeah.
but no, it's really beautiful with all the wildlife, and I really love, and I think being here in Canada, I realize it's something that I miss, just the outdoor life,
Mm.
the outdoor life, how everything is more natural. You want to spend time outside because it's just part of the culture. Like you say, going to the beach, or if you're going on a road trip. I spent so much time barefoot outside in Australia, and I felt really, this is very hippie of me, but very connected to the earth, because
Mm.
just
Yeah.
walking around without your shoes on, and that's not just on the beach, that's even walking around town in supermarkets. It's so common in Australia. People just
Yeah.
walk around in barefoot.
Yeah.
Um, and then the other experiences, living in hostels the whole time and meeting people from all over the world, meeting you and my other Argentinian friends and Chilean friends, starting to connect with Latin culture, and just opening my mind. Just it's an indescribable experience, and to have been able to experience that at the age I was, between 19 and 22, that that was my university. I
Yeah.
didn't go and study.
Yeah.
I went to the school of life. I was there on
Yeah.
the other side of the world during this crazy time, during the pandemic. We didn't know what was happening, and to be surrounded by amazing people always. So there's going to be a bias in my experience. There's going to be a bias in any experience we have, for one reason or another. Um, if I had to put it in my, my top 10, though, it's a really good question, because I can't, to visualize the order of the countries. Mm, I've never really given it so much thought. Like,
Well,
I
you can maybe you can answer the question in the next one.
no, but I owe you an answer now. You've given me your time, so I owe you an answer now. I think I have Argentina at the top, because
Yeah.
it's just, maybe it wouldn't be at the top if I had to live there and earn in pesos, but
Yeah, it's easy. Yeah.
and then I also had a really amazing experience living in Colombia as well. A very different kind of experience. Um, I think it would be between two or three. I think probably two. I think I would put it in number
All
two.
right.
But maybe that's just an answer under pressure. I don't know if I could come up with a different
Okay.
answer.
Just because I am Australian. So you feel the pressure to put that in the top three.
And you're Argentinian Australian.
Yeah. So you have to say one and two.
No,
No,
but
that's right. I just want to know if you have Australia as the number 10, because some people say oh no, I don't like Australia. Australia will be my number 10 country. And some people love it.
Yeah,
So if I have to choose, of course I didn't travel much, but Australia is my number one.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
So
No, I understand, and I haven't met so many people who don't love it when they've lived there. I think it's just it's a really, because you can have whatever kind of life you want in Australia. There's so
yes,
many
yes,
opportunities. You can be the person you want to be. You can live where you want. If you don't like winter, you don't have to be cold. You can just
yeah,
live north like
yeah.
yourself.
And also you can get paid well with any job.
Hmm.
So whatever you do, you get paid well.
Yeah.
And that's not really easy to find in, at least for my experience in Argentina, it's not easy.
Yeah. No, it's very true. And I think sometimes I think about that, like, oh, where can I go to go and work and save loads of money doing anything? No, Australia is very unique in that aspect, you know.
Yeah.
And I got so much experience in so many different jobs. I worked in hostels, in farms, in construction, in customer service. I tried a little bit of everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And still I don't know what I want to do.
That's all right. That's one day is going to come to your head and you're going to say, this is what I want.
Maybe I spend my whole life looking for that thing.
I'm sure you will find something.
We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, no, I think sometimes I think about it, like going back to Australia and doing it again, but it won't be the same the next time. I'll have a different experience. I still have one more year. I don't know when or if I'll use it. Maybe New Zealand as well. New Zealand could be
Mm.
interesting to see.
Yeah, a lot of people talk very well about New Zealand.
But the cost of living isn't the same and you don't earn as much.
Yeah.
But yeah. So now we'll finish up with the last three questions for you.
All
So
right.
the last question, the question from the last guest, Marcelo, who is a mutual friend of ours.
Yeah.
He asked you, out of all the countries that you visited, where would you want to take your family to?
Well, in my case, it's a very easy answer. Of course, I will say Australia, and I am trying to bring my family. It's not very easy. The visas in Australia are hard, and they are getting harder and harder. So my idea will be to bring my mom and one of my sisters to Australia. But yeah, I have to see what's the best way to do it. I know they will have a better life here. As I say, Argentina is not going to fix, even with a good president, it's not going to be able to fix the country in the next 10 or 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to bring my family here to Australia. So
Yeah.
that will be the place I will choose.
How many sisters do you have?
Two. One
One.
is in Dubai, and then the other one is in Argentina.
Mm-hmm. But it's quite expensive, that process as well.
Well, my understanding is like to bring my mom will be like $50,000.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's super expensive.
But it's incomparable when you think about the quality of life, the differences.
Yeah, yeah. And as I say, going from don't being able to pay coffee to the life I have now is it's something that I will pay for everyone.
Yeah. Very nice. Which other countries have you visited, by the way? I know you visited Brazil.
I went to Brazil, I went to Chile, but only for a few hours. And then I think that's it. Australia.
You've been to Uruguay?
No. No, that's it. I think I'm not missing anything. Well, I went to Dubai when I was traveling to Argentina. That doesn't count.
Mhm.
So yeah, I would say Brazil is the only one that I stay for 2 or 3 weeks in there. Yeah, and
As
Brazil, I love Brazil. I was going to live in Brazil. That
yeah,
was my first idea. But the issue is, if you are going to move and start from zero, you better start from zero in a place that worth the effort.
yeah.
So it's not. I'm not saying that Brazil is not good, because I was going to choose Brazil to live.
But the difference in the quality of life between
Yeah,
Brazil and Australia is big.
yeah.
And the security as well. I think a big concern for you was the security in Argentina, and I think Brazil's probably worse for that.
Well, Brazil is not easy. Yeah, yeah. It's very similar. Yeah.
Okay, and what question would you like to ask the next guest?
Oof. Are they all from Australia? Or do you know who it's going to be?
No, no, the next guest, I
All right.
it could be anyone.
Okay. So, okay, I would like to ask the next one. What will they do to get a better life for them and for their family?
Okay.
So, what's the effort they will do, and if they are thinking to do that?
Mm-hmm. Good question.
Yeah, because I think that was part of my idea of why I leave Argentina too. So it was to get a better life for myself and also for my family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Interesting. And then the last one, a message in your language, and what does it mean to you, and why you want to share the message?
Okay. So the message is going to be 5 words. Is perseverancia, autocontrol, espíritu indomable, cortesía y integridad.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you get the 5 words, if you understood the 5 words. So the 5 words that I say, they are from Taekwondo, and they are the 5 keywords from the Taekwondo.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to be good with people. You need to understand what's correct and what is not. You need to get perseverance. You need to keep going, even if things are harder. You need to have self-control of yourself. Like, if you are in a situation that you feel, let's say you are angry with someone, you need to understand that you have to control yourself, keep that for yourself, and then speak whenever you are ready. Know whatever you get at that moment, because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's even worse. And the last one, which is espíritu indomable, which I don't know how to say that in English, is to, even if people say you cannot to do that, if you know that you can, go and do it. Show them that they are wrong. So that's a 5 key words of Taekwondo, and is the way I live.
Mm. Very nice. Very, very interesting words, very unique.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how I grow. when I was in Argentina, and that's the way I keep living.
Mm. Very good. Very good. Well, thank you so much for your time today. It's been lovely to
Thank you
catch up.
thank you for inviting me.
So,
Was very nice. I will keep listening the podcast in the car while driving to Panko.
thank you.
Yeah, yeah, it's really nice what you are doing, and wish you all the best with the podcast.
Thank you
And
so much.
of course, with whatever you want to do in your life.
Thank you. When I figure it out. But for now, maybe this.
Yeah, yeah,
No, but thank you so much for your time. And it's hard staying in touch with people when we're so far away. And
mm,
you know, there's something that I really like about this project, that I can connect with my old friends from,
yeah,
and it makes you realize, like, even though we're living our lives and time just passes us by, it's nice to just sit down and talk about our stories. I really appreciate
yeah,
that. And yeah, it's been a long time, a year and a half, is that's already flown by since we last saw each other. And
yeah.
I don't know where the next place will be when we'll next cross paths, but I'm looking forward to it.
All right. You are welcome home whenever you want
Thank
in
you.
Argentina or in Australia. So, yeah, even if we don't chat for a long time, you know, always there for
Thank you.
whatever.
You too. Well, thank you everyone for listening. This has been episode 11 of Backpacks and Stories.